When I left Christianity and fundamentalist churches, I realized that churches teach their members that God can cure anything. Now, if this only involved adults who had common sense and understood how the medical field works, I wouldn't have a problem with this. But there are groups of people, denominations of Christianity and New Age thinking, that actually opt out of vaccinating their kids, getting their kids in for life-threatening illnesses, which later result in convictions of child abuse, negligent homicide, second-degree murder, exorcisms. Fundamentalist churches do exorcisms which can harm, traumatize, or kill people if they're somewhat different than other people. If these beliefs that God could cure anything without the use of science was only taken seriously by people who had common sense, I probably wouldn't have a problem with it. It's stupid, but it wouldn't hurt anybody. We have people in this world, by the millions, who believe what they read and have very little critical thinking to back up their beliefs. If the Bible or some leader of a church told them to kill their kids or leave their kids without treatment, prayer is the only way to cure, they would. How many kids die every year in America? Just in America, we could look at statistics. But look around the world. Gender and beliefs can make or break someone's ability to survive or have a great, long-lasting life. There are denominations of Christianity that still believe that medicine is satanic. There are groups out there that, religious and secular, that believe that prayer is all you need. You don't need anything else. No medicine, no life-saving treatments. Why is this so dangerous? Because it causes fatalities. It kills people. Usually kids. Kids who've done nothing but trust that their parents know what they're doing and love them. Loving someone is not enough to make parents take their kids in for emergency treatment. That could only be cured by surgery, medicine, or a combination of a lot of things. And why is this so problematic? Because in a lot of countries that, like the US, believe that religion is sacred and can never be challenged by politics or by law, you have a problem. I've been to churches that had members, very few members, that believed that the world is flat or that medicine is not what's needed, prayer is needed. This kills kids. It kills families. There are families out there that if they see and witness a charismatic preacher, teacher, reverend, whatever, tell them that this world is bad enough that we need to protect the kids and give them Kool-Aid, which actually happened, I believe, in 1978. There were parents in Jonestown that actually believed they were doing what was best for their kids. I think they all kind of thought that, but they put it into different boxes of whether or not it was actually good for their kids or not. And at the end of the day, if your faith is more important than life-changing treatment, you need to choose a different faith. How many kids have died because they need insulin? Which is not an awful thing in the slightest. No kid, no parent is responsible for a child that naturally has an issue and needs insulin. These kind of things are not punishing people. It's some people out there are born with issues that they need treatment for. And there is nothing wrong with that. The issue is not getting them treatment when you know they need treatment. I mean, 1 + 1 = 2. Unfortunately, for some people, it's not. And it's so simple. Sometimes it's just an injection twice daily that can save lives. I mean, insulin is so life-changing. Now, we don't have to stick our bodies several times a day to check glucose. We can do it without that, which is amazing. And even if you do believe in God, I don't, but if you do, one of the 12 disciples was a doctor, Luke, if I remember correctly. He was a doctor and ministered to people during and after Jesus' ascension. If one of God's followers was a doctor, a very prestigious, educated doctor, why do people still believe that going to the doctor is something shameful? Going to see a psychiatrist. Honestly, everyone needs to be in therapy. Unless you have perfect parents, which does not exist. Everyone should be in therapy just because our society does not adequately teach and instruct consistently mental health priority. And this is what's such terrifying in our culture. It's such a sad thing when our culture does not prioritize mental health or anything. So, when very few people can adequately get help, and Christians are supposed to care about mental health and physical health, what is wrong with Christians? Not all Christians, but lots of Christians out there. And it's terrible how kids are sacrificed on the altar of, well, we don't believe in life-saving medicine. We believe that Jesus saves. Yeah, but can't Jesus save with medicine? Any God that would tell his followers or anyone who speaks for God, any leader that says, oh, you don't need life-saving medicine to save lives, is not somebody that should be around kids or anyone with anybody at all. These are dangerous people. Always use medicine. If there are ways where you don't need to use medicine, okay. As long as the illness won't get better on its own. I mean, there are autoimmune conditions that can be assisted with new age, smells, scents, diet change, fine. But if it's a life-ending problem that can only be resolved if medicine is involved, like the only way, surgery, chemo, medicine must be there in order to get well. Only crazy people, delusional people, or people who've gone through too much and don't want to fight anymore, which is understandable, especially if this is not your first bout of the illness. I mean, it's crazy not to get treatment when it's easy, available, and even if it's expensive, I'm still getting it. Even if it bankrupts me, I'm getting it. It's insane that parents do not protect their kids with all manner of medicine out there. That is child abuse. And Christians worship health to the point where they won't even admit that they have mental health problems or psychological disorders. There's still a taboo in all religions, all major world religions, that if you have a mental, psychological, physical, behavioral issue, it's hidden. That's not healthy. That is not okay. My brother has schizophrenia. If we were in church today, nobody in my family would ever admit that it was in our family. And it's not something that goes through our family. It's just a one-off. This person is the only one in our immediate maternal and paternal side of our families that has it. So it's not a genetic thing. It could be, but it's just not in our family. But even with his consent, nobody in my family would tell anyone because of the taboo status. There's a mental health problem in our country. 3 out of 4 mass shootings are because of white cis heterosexual men with mental health and coping problems. And yeah, less than 1% of mass shootings and mass murders are by mentally incompetent people. But there's a reason why women in church seem to struggle more with depression than men do, even though in the real world it's backwards. Men are most likely to have suicidal and depressive thoughts. Religion is so depressing. No wonder people in religion have depression or exacerbated depression. Any illness of any form that you can find in a psychiatric or medical textbook is not something that's readily talked about in church. We don't set people's mind at ease or make people aware that it's perfectly normal and natural to have illness of any kind, whether it's dementia, bipolar, or sclerosis. People hide it because they don't want to be viewed as weak, or because you committed a sin, you're being punished. That's how Baptists make people feel, at least in the churches I've been in. We need to get beyond everything is hidden, and God forbid somebody has an illness that can't be cured.